truth.
Right.
That's very common. I don't know if it's truth. I'm still, searching. My parents. But usually when someone says to the point where there's no God, they don't waste their time going to a shul. There's no God. Why would you go to shul? That seems like... And I wouldn't call them Orthodox at that point. Mm-hmm. I wouldn't call anyone Orthodox. But if they don't... You cannot be frum if you say there's no God. By definition, that doesn't work. It's keeping Shabbos, keeping kosher, and you've got those 13 principles of faith. If you say there's no God, then you're a violation of the 13, and you're not frum. Mm-hmm. So the concept of a frum person and an atheist is an oxymoron. It doesn't happen. So you're saying Orthodox Jewish atheist. If you want to switch Orthodox to frum, there's no such thing.
Okay.
There's no such thing.
Hey, did you know that there are Orthodox Jews who are manual laborers? I didn't realize this because I've always gone to modern Orthodox shuls where everyone has college degrees and everyone's either a doctor, a lawyer, a dentist, a CEO, or they're in a profession. But I suddenly found out that there are Orthodox Jews who are landscapers and plumbers and sell cars.
There are so many frummies who are plumbers.
But you
can't flush a toilet without some frummie come flying out.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like in our neighborhood.
Yeah.
All the plumbers are frummies.
Yeah. What, is there a connection between plumbing and?
No, it's a smart business to go into if you're a frummie. I'll tell you why. There's a lot of frummies here in LA who do plumbing. It's a smart business because, you make your own hours, right? And it's like a lot of it's cash,
Yeah.
And you can get good at it, and you start hiring out. You hire other people to do the work, and you just skim.
Yeah.
You teach them how to be plumbers, and it's a good business to go into a frummie. A lot of frummies are in business, and a lot of them are Israeli. And in Israel, everybody has a trade. It's a much more blue collar society. Everybody's got a trade. They send you to trade school, and they all have these skills. They're electricians and they're plumbers and they're carpenters.
Some of them are firemen.
They come to America and they can open their own business here and do well.
I met an Orthodox Jewish fireman.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I mean, you don't find many of those. Particularly like if you go to B'nai David, Young Israel Century City, Beth Jacob, like everyone has college degrees and pretty much everyone's in a profession. But you go to a Haredi shul and 90% of them don't have college degrees.
Makes sense, because I hate these terms, but in the Torah community outside of modern Orthodoxy, right? It's usually frowned upon to go to college, to go sit there and spend your time invested in secular studies, which are usually controlled and propagated by atheists and people who are anti-Torah. It doesn't make sense to do that. To sit there and dive into that. So you're not going to see that. And people have their own businesses, and they have their own these kind of things, and that's how people make their money.
So in chapter 4, verse 1, Moses says to the Israelites, "Now, O Israel, listen to the decrees and the ordinances that I teach you to perform, so that you may live." I think that's so profound, the purpose of this mitzvot, so that we may live. And if you don't follow the Torah, you're heading for death and destruction. But the purpose of this mitzvot and God's instructions is so that we may live and flourish.
Well, Torah is life. Torah is life. The life of a Jew is the Torah, right? And it's like God saying, choose good, choose life, choose the Torah. Do what I tell you to do. This is the life of a Jew. The life of a Jew is learning the Torah and following the Torah. That's his life.
Yeah, so this is like a reason for Jewish law. Do this so that you may live. And then there's another great point here. You shall safeguard these mitzvot, the commandments, and perform them, for it is your wisdom and discernment in the eyes of the Goyim. You shall hear all these laws, and shall say, surely a wise and discerning people is this great nation. For which is a great nation that has a God who is so close to it, as is Hashem our God, whenever we call to him? Which is a great nation that has righteous decrees and ordinances, such as this in Torah that I place before you this day? So the whole purpose of observing the Torah, according to Deuteronomy chapter 4, verses 6 through 8, is so that the Goyim will say, surely the Jews are very wise. But I don't think the Goyim are saying that today when they encounter observant Jews, and observant Jews aren't able to talk to them about the reasons for the mitzvot. How then are the Goyim going to say, oh, this is a very wise nation? What do you think about these two verses here in Deuteronomy?
Well, look at my audience.
Mm-hmm.
My audience is almost all non-Jews.
Yes.
Okay? They are the goy gadol.
Yes.
The big goy.
Yes.
Well, who's the big goy? It says, Umi goy gadol, right? Who's the big goy?
Mm-hmm.
Rab's followers, right?
Yeah.
And what do they see? They're blown away by Judaism.
Yeah.
They see Torah as something incredibly valuable and incredibly, what's the words here?
Yeah.
What is the words that you said?
I'm saying that the observing the Torah will make us look wise to the
I think so.
non-Jews.
I think that they're going to come to these conclusions, that they're going to see how vast the Torah is with knowledge. I don't see anything. The only people only goyim who don't see that are the ones who don't know. They're exposed only to assimilated Jews, and all they think about from Judaism is it's Hanukkah instead of Christmas.
So what do you think non-Jews think when they encounter observant Jews today? Do you think they think, oh, look how wise they are?
Yeah, I'm going to say yes. I don't think that's their overriding thing is wise. I think their overriding thing is, wow, this is really interesting. This is something I'm interested in.
So do you think it's important that the way we perform the mitzvot and live our lives makes the Torah look smart to the Goyim?
I can't answer that. I really don't know. I don't know if the way me and you live is going to change anything. I don't really know, because it's hard to say if they get their is it from their interactions with non-Jews, or do they just like get this information over the internet? You know what I'm saying? It doesn't really matter how we act, because they're going to find the information anyways.
So what do you think Moses is saying here in Deuteronomy chapter 4?
It's not Moses. It's really God saying it.
What do you think God's saying here? I'm talking Deuteronomy chapter 4, verses 6 through 8, and then I'm reading from the art scroll, the stone Chumash.
Yeah, you know what? I'm going to say it like this. In nowadays, what do we have? We have the internet.
Mm-hmm.
And there's so much Torah on the internet.
Yes.
There's enough to... You can't wrap around your head around how much Torah is on the internet. I mean, there's like these incredible sites out there, like Torah.org and BingJewish.com. And there's so much information out there. And there's so many books. And I think that the average non-Jew, here in America at least, who's interested, enough to take a look at these things, is going to be blown away. They're going to say, I had no idea how intricate and how much knowledge there is in Judaism. And I think that's a fulfillment right there of number 7.
Yeah. Yeah.
Or number 6. I'm sorry. Number 6. Verse 6. I think that is. They're going to say, wow. I mean, I've experienced that many, many times. Because I get most of the people who contact me are not Jewish.
Yeah.
What I would like to see is that Jews contact me and get blown away and don't realize what their own religion says.
Right.
And how much knowledge is in it. And how much more knowledgeable it is than everything that they've learned in college. But unfortunately, I don't get that from Jews. They're like apologists. They go like, silly, Judaism is silly and outdated.
Okay, I have to wrap things up.
Okay, yeah, it's already 2 hours.
So it's great seeing you. Final
likewise, and I want to thank everybody for staying tuned for the entire 2 hours. Yeah. I noticed one thing, I just want to cut up with it. I noticed, I was checking like the views.
Yeah.
A few weeks back, I was pulling some, and I looked at the whole series and how many, and it's like, the first one will have like, like X amount of views, and then it like X minus 3, minus, and like nobody makes it to like the finish line. Nobody sings in there till the end. Like the end, you have like 4 viewers going, like, whatever. It's like, so everybody who's hanging into this point and watching on YouTube, I just want to say thank you very much for making it through 2 hours of this video, and give yourselves a round of applause for hanging in there.
Yeah, sure.